Greetings, Internet. Welcome to Aaron Plays, and I hope you're doing fantastically well. This is effectively my December channel catch-up. What's going on, what I'm doing, why I'm not doing it, certain things anymore. Let's talk about this and some of the games that I have had featured on my channel recently. So where to start? Okay, well, let's start with the one that I'm currently playing, and that being Battle Hymn, which is the Pacific version of Ambush. Um, I've shot so far 5 videos. 2 have been released. Another one in a couple of days will be released. And thoroughly enjoying it. So it's mission 2 of the game. This has been requested by a lot of you guys out there. And also Ambush, which we'll discuss in a minute. So, am I? Well, I am enjoying the game. It's interesting. There's always going to be a few niggles with the rules in the sense of armor and how it actually works. Why can't I do recon by fire, i.e. fire into an empty hex and see what's there, or even scout a hex that I'm not actually in, rather than walking in with the Irish mine detector mode, sort of hands over ears and tap foot to see if something goes boom. So that's my main problem with both the Ambush and the Battle Hymn, but as a game, thoroughly entertaining. And once I've finished this particular mission for Battle Hymn, then the Ambush, I think it's mission 8, but the continuation of my campaign in Europe with my Ambush squad, and this is obviously my Pacific Marine squad. So after those 2, what will happen then to the channel? Don't know. I haven't quite decided what to do after those 2, other than probably around about March, May time, or in between, there will be the next mission 3 for Battle Hymn, and whatever the next mission is for the Ambush. Also recently, I've done 3 other games. The workhorse one, Into the Woods, American Civil War, Great Battles of History. I'm up to about episode 57 or maybe 58. And it's not getting many views. It's not getting many likes. However, I really would like to see personally how that will pan out. If it starts getting to be tedious, which it isn't, then I might call a hiatus on that. But I'm thoroughly enjoying it. The videos have slowed down, as I did mention in one of my previous updates. I haven't got anything in the back catalogue as in stored. So over the next week, I'm on holiday with work. I will probably do 1 or 2 videos of those and release them once a week or once every 8 days or something like that, just to keep that churning clock, because I really do enjoy the system. I am really enjoying the game, and it is at an interesting position with the Union Centre collapsing and the Confederates, well, they're tiring. So one side's got to rest while the other side patches up, or is there going to be continuous conflict? The Union trying to get some troops up to the front line, but they're getting in each other's way, and the AM chip doesn't really help them in that regard. So Into the Woods will be continuing, but at a much slower rate, when I can get time to do it. Air and Armour. Okay, so I played one game completely solo. Then I played another game against Craig in America, and we got to turn 4. Well, we finished the game, but I've video turn 1 to 4. Turns 5 to 7, well, let's just say didn't have the boil that I was expecting, so I'm not going to bring that to the channel. Safe to say is NATO, me, won it. What to do with the game from now on? I've had a couple of other people ask to play against me, and I've had Mark, the guy I played some of the Napoleonic games with. He was the person who actually introduced me to this game. So hopefully we'll get a game in, and I will do what I do with me logs and such forth. I can't see me playing it solo, not for quite a while. I want to play some 2-player games and that, and I will bring whatever happens with that to the channel eventually. It's not something I'm pushing on. Then we've got Enemy Action Ardennes, which is a game I asked you guys in a poll Do you want me to do this? And emphatic A, yay. It was the 80th anniversary. I did a learning game of just the assault scenario, which is just one turn. And then on the 16th of December, I began to do the full campaign game. Well, I got through to 17. I'd done two turns, well, two videos of the 17th. And to be fair, I feel I wasted my time. The game, don't get me wrong, the game is fantastic. But I didn't get much response from you guys. I was expecting, considering it was the 80th anniversary, considering that was what was requested, the views were in the 30s and likes were, well, I'm normally getting at least sort of 6, 7 likes to a video. I know it's not great. I know there are channels out there getting thousands of likes and such forth. I'm getting 6 or 7, and for those on the 17th of December, I got 2. And I was like, okay, am I doing something wrong? I know it doesn't flow as something like the ambush or battle hymn, because I know those rules well. Not brilliantly, I still struggle with some of them, but I know how to make the game flow and such forth. So maybe because those games, the enemy action Ardennes didn't flow, as in I was checking a rule, checking a rule, checking, is that right? Is that right? I was asking questions because I was still learning it myself. The one turn introductory scenario um, isn't enough to learn that game. I think it requires a lot more play. Maybe I shouldn't have been introducing that play to the video because it didn't flow. I don't know because I didn't get enough comments to tell me actually you should have actually done this in such a way or such a, I didn't get that kind of information or feedback from you guys. And to me, this is the whole point of the channel. It's meant to be us working together to learn these games. I'm just going to increase the light a little bit. Oh, hello. Yeah, this is shot to the middle of the night. Well, 9 o'clock-ish. So I do want to continue that game, and I will probably continue it off camera to the conclusion. And then I will probably want to play. There's one viewer who again recommended the game. He wants to play a two-player version, and I'll probably do that in the same way I've done my Panzer Blitz and such forth. And then maybe try again the solo game. Or continue the game that I've already got going, just keep the log files and then introduce it through the log files, where I can probably keep a bit more consistent narrative rather than me going, right, pause, check, rule, pause, check, rule, pause, and so on. If that was the problem. Or maybe I just wasn't very good at the game. I don't know. No one told me. No one actually updated me. That's what I need, is that feedback. So enemy action Ardennes at the present moment, game wise on the channel, no, it's not happening. Um, so um, and that's about it game wise that I had currently going on. I had mentioned Siege of Jerusalem. That was the one that got the second amount of votes after Enemy Action Ardennes. But, and now here's the big but. Okay, I'm not a spring chicken. Learning all these complicated rules has made this little noggin go, phew, give us a rest. Okay, now Into the Woods, Great Battles in American Civil War. I have to keep checking the rules on that, even though I've been playing it up to episode 57 or 58. It's a constant exceptions of the exceptions type of rule book. And I'm constant. I mean, I've read the rules multiple times. I use every sort of trick I know in the book to keep those rules in my head, and they're not sticking. Whereas when we say something like ambush or battle him or some of the other, like forgotten Anzio, okay, which I did about a year ago. Those kind of rules, they are sticking. But something like Into the Woods, especially the terrain, I think I mentioned in one of the episodes that the terrain there is doing my head in as well. Because, okay, it's a 2 map sheet battle. I am quite frequently going on to maximum zoom on my screen to be able to work out what the terrain is. And I do not know how they can work out what the terrain is when you've got the map and you're like leaning over the table. Other than using, where is it? One of these, which I'm now starting to find more and more useful, especially on the small counters or the small text or something like that. It's becoming essential. But on, with Vassal, I can clear all the counters. Boom, sorted. I could then zoom up the map. Boom. So I can then try and work out what the terrain is. How players or play testers or anybody else could do that on the map with all the counters on baffles me, unless they had a second copy of the map sitting next to them and one of these. Or they actually had the Vassal module right next to them while they were playing. That might have been the answer. Because as is, it baffles me how they actually done it. And yes, it might be very representative of the terrain. Yes, it might make the game more accurate. But for us aging players, and I'm not that old, but us players who have got eyesight issues or something like that, it doesn't help the situation. So as in the last video, or the last two videos, there might have been a little bit of frustration creeping in from the map side rather than the rules side. The rules are still tricky, and that's what this whole little mini rant is about. Is that I'm finding some of these rule books a little bit on the daunting side. Now let's go air and armor. Okay, it's 140 odd pages. Now, not all. I only read, I think, up to page 91. To play the scenario, the first scenario, because that's what he recommended. Doesn't use the aircraft, doesn't use the helicopters, and a few of the other rules. So yeah, great. It was still 90 odd pages of rules to play a game. That's a lot to try and retain and memorize. And then I did the enemy action Ardennes, completely different concept to most games. It's about a 70 odd page rule book. True, silly me, took the most complicated option. I announced that on the channel before I read the rules slightly, where it advises you to play it two-player first, even maybe playing the two-player game solo first, then playing the Germans solo, and then tackling the Allies solo. No, silly me, took on the hardest option. But that's the thing. Why am I waving this around? Because it looks important. No, put that down. Put that down. You're not Sherlock Holmes. So why do I keep picking these really complex games? It's a good question. I mean, even your ambush and your battle hymns, they're fairly in depth, but they seem to have a flow, and I've cracked those in the sense that I know most of the rules. I still struggle with armor, as I've said. But these games that I've picked, and that's why Siege of Jerusalem I'm putting on the back burner because it's only got a 16-page rulebook, but it's that weeny teeny teeny little Avalon Hill type. The one that you need one of these on steroids, probably that little bit in the middle. Oh man! So I thought I need a break from these complicated games. I need to play something that's a little bit more straightforward, a little bit more less intense rule wise. What does that mean game wise? Well, I've still got Pandora on the back door, so I still want to finish that. We're about 3 months into the campaign on that, so I would like to continue with that at some point. Also, I've been looking at the Fleet series. Yes, fairly big rule books, but not complex. I've played a bit of Sixth Fleet in the past and a bit of Second Fleet. I haven't played any of the others. I have them, I haven't played them, and I'm tempted to do Sixth Fleet. Play a scenario or two from there, and maybe a pose with Harry, who I'm doing Panzerblitz with. Um, the other option is I've been looking at Panzer Group Guderian. Sitting there again, not that big a rule book, probably could deal with that. Just to give this thing a breather. Then maybe in a couple of months' time, I might say, right, okay, let's tackle a big one again. I said Into the Woods will be continuing, but Air and Armour and Ardennes, not for a while. Not, I wouldn't say a considerable while, but not for a while. So that's it, really. Is there anything else? Oh, yes. So the Panzer Blitz is continuing with Harry. So we're into situation 9. 8 was uploaded about a week ago. We're about three turns into situation. We're actually playing that by email at the moment because our time schedules aren't quite matching up. But that's going fine. With Craig, who I played the Air and Armor, well, we're now going to be giving Panzer Leader a blast. He sent me a setup. I've responded to the setup. We're going to be doing the St. Lo scenario from that. Uh, I've got to sort of, yes, there are subtle rule differences between the two games. We are going to play with the optional rule, which has the opportunity fire. Spotting is a bit different in that as well, because if a unit fires out of a hex and is in line of sight of someone, that hex is then spotted. So that you're not like in the Panzer bush situation where someone can move all the way up to a bush, fire out something, and doesn't get any response back because there's no one adjacent. So that is a nice subtle difference between the two games. Me and Harry have discussed, should we bring some of the Panzer Leader updates into Panzer Blitz? I've got the feeling that no, because, all right, some of these scenarios aren't balanced anyway, but they're two separate games, and I would like to keep it as such. I've also recently purchased Arab-Israeli Wars, so maybe that'll be coming up. Anything else I've recently purchased? Ah, yes. Now, I don't know if you guys want to see this on the channel because it's a lot on the internet already about it, but it's the SAS Rogue Regiment. Gimpy, gamer, brilliant. I watched his makeup of it, and through watching what he did with it, I went, I want this. Got it. Played the first mission with my daughter. Great. Started the second mission. Got done. So we're doing that again tomorrow. Not for the camera, not for anything like that. I'll probably play it solo on the camera if you guys want to see it. So now it comes full circle. Um, Back to the comments and the likes and subscribes and all that lot. Okay. It is obviously down to you guys. You know, it doesn't take much effort to click one of these things, does it? To say thank you or like. You know, I and other content makers put a lot of effort into these things. Okay. I mean, for me to play a game, I could play a game in half the time it takes me to actually play it for you guys with the narration and such forth. Now, that was the whole reason I started the channel in the first place, was I had the game sitting on the shelf, not being played, and not being doing anything with them. However, with playing with you guys, it has encouraged me to play more. And of course, yes, buy more games. Um, but if I'm not getting some feedback from you guys, I don't know if you're liking it, enjoying it, am I wasting my time? As I say, using the enemy action Ardennes as an example, I can now, probably later on tonight, I will play the rest of the 17th of December, with me just playing here with the rules and such forth, a bottle of beer, there's the music in the background, chilled out, do it, finish it, move on, and then carry on with the other days. But bringing it to you guys, I need to know that you want to watch it. So that's where it comes bound round to you guys to just say thank you. And that thank you is one of those. It doesn't take much effort. Okay. If you don't like the video, fair enough. If you haven't got to the end and you're like, you know what? No. But if you did like it and you thought it was okay, and some of you making comments, I don't know if it's, people make comments actually who do the likes as well. I get the occasional comments, and most of them are thankful. Most of them appreciate what I've done. So is encouragement, but also the likes is the encouragement, and that's what gets the algorithm, gets other people to watch the channel. Okay, to see what I've done and such forth. Because at the end of the day, the more subscribers, the more the likes that the videos get, the more it gets out there so other people can see what I've done. The other option is to share. Just share the video. If you know someone who you're watching a Panzer Blitz scenario and you think, I know someone who likes Panzer Blitz, and forward it on to them. Again, it all helps the channel. So, I mean, okay, so recently I got 1,000 subscribers. Yay, great. That means I'm now technically monetized. Yeah, that's great, isn't it? With the actual amount of money I'm making, so far I've been monetized for just shy of 2 months. I've made a whopping, don't get me wrong, a whopping £24.72. Okay, not much. In fact, I don't even get that £24.72 until I got 60 quid. And eventually they'll send that to me. Well, that's to me is going to be back into the channel for a game once I get there. So we're not talking, life changer. I've got a job. I'm fully employed. I'm quite happy. I don't have to sit here doing this. I do it because I like playing games. B, I want to communicate with guys like yourself about games. That's what's for me. Talking about the stuff. Some of the comments I'm getting are fantastic. Some of the comments I was getting with Air and Armour were so detailed and well thought out, and they really encouraged me. They also really made me understand the game a lot better. The enemy action Ardennes, I didn't really get that much, other than yeah, that was all right. Well, yeah, that's all right. It's great. Thank you for the encouragement, but and some comments like yeah, that armored unit couldn't have broken through there and such forth. So there was some, but not as much as I was anticipating, and it was rather of a disappointment. So yeah. Other than that, we're coming to the end of 2024. It's been a tough year for me, both from a emotional point. I lost my father this year. Um, my partner's moved down, which means I've lost my gaming table. Yeah, partner over gaming table. There you go. It means most of my stuff has moved onto the computer screen. And maybe the SAS is small enough, some of the learning missions, to fit onto a table where I can get an actual camera on it. I don't think there's a Vassal module for it, but I need to know if you guys want to see that, or see me play it. As I say, there is a lot of content out there on that game, but what I've seen of it so far, it does look interesting. I'll do that again. Wow. Yeah. So what else can I say? Have a good New Year, which is coming up very soon. Have a wonderful 2025. But please, if you do watch and you do enjoy it, I'm not asking you to hit the like if you didn't enjoy it. I'd like a comment to tell me why you didn't enjoy it. Because at the end of the day, I want to improve. I haven't got the money to make, with detailed editing programs or employ an editor or something like that. This is me in my bedroom using a little camera and using PowerPoint to make the thumbnails and paint. Okay, that's it. It's as basic as you can possibly imagine. Can't afford any more. Um, Editing wise, I do have an editing program which I cut some scenes out. Sometimes I just leave them in. Okay, because it's not the fastest. So, and it takes a long time to actually edit. I don't have that time sometimes because I've got work in the morning or whatever. So, whinge over. There's a bit of whinge around there, but also I'm really grateful for you guys, for the ones that do watch, for the ones that do like, for the ones that do comment. That is the joy of what I'm doing here, is when I am getting that feedback and I'm getting the reciprocation from you for what I do. That, to me, has been fantastic. 2024, I have introduced a few more than complicated games than maybe I should have. Maybe I only keep it down to one. But at the end of the day, I've played them. I've tried them. And in some cases, I'm moving on from them. The biggest, obviously, work I've done for any particular one game, which is Into the Woods. It's a system I've loved in the past, but never really got to play some of the big battles in it. Play some of the smaller ones. Um, and all right, I have done the first day of 3 Days to Gettysburg, but that was way back. Okay, I think it was still third edition, it just come out, but I think it was using ADC, if that means anything to any of you guys out there. So I'm glad I am playing the system again and that it is giving me the joy that I've had from it in the past. So until next time, guys, play games, have fun, and above all, buy internet